Ever since the last comic from 2017 released, fans of the game or just the TF2 universe speculated how the story would conclude. And well, I will try my best to do so.
Mr. Dispenser!
Hello everyone, Mr. Dispenser here. This is gonna be a bit of a different video type that I've never really done before, a theory video. The 6th TF2 comic ended with a massive cliffhanger. Not only did Team Fortress, our beloved mercs, defeat the other mercs and death itself. No, the story writers gave us this ending. The administrator using the last Australian on Earth to extend her life to complete her final task. This is as far as we know the story goes. Man, not the first time Valve put a funny cliffhanger for a beloved series, am I right? So, how will I structure this video? I will divide it into 3 sections. One talking about the story beat that tackles Saxton Hale, one that shows the administrator's part, and one section where I will theorize what will happen in the 8th comic as a whole, and in the end with most of the characters. So I would say I wouldn't waste any more time and we start with the first part. The past caught up. The first section I want to dedicate to Saxton Hale. This god amongst Australian men is one key part in the comics. First we see how he loses Man Co to a little girl and how his company was taken over by Grey Man. The second big important story beat is the reconciliation with Charles Darwin and Mac. And this I think is gonna be the main conclusion for Saxton. All around the comics we always see how Hale just wants Man Co back. He doesn't care or does not share the same opinion as Margaret. He does not want to give up his company life. This story for Saxton Hale kinda writes itself. He will give up Man Co and return to his roots with Mac, fighting wild beasts in the most Australian way possible, with a smile and his bare fists. The story of Saxton shows how the loss of Man Co through Grey Man was not the great loss that Saxton thought it was. It was actually his way to free himself. And this is basically a very simple conclusion for Saxton Hale. But who would take his place for one of the most profitable businesses in the world? For that, we have to go a bit back. The 4th sibling. Okay, this part is gonna be a bit hard to get through, but believe me, I think it might be a worthy ending. I believe that the administrator could be closely related to the Mann family itself. Maybe even the 4th sibling next to Redmond, Plutarch and Grey. Even though they say that she's just a maidservant of Zephaniah, it could always be just a misunderstanding by Saxton Hale, who kinda narrates the whole story. But yeah, this family matter would be the biggest plot hole in my theory, I believe. But in my defense, not only would it make sense from a story perspective, but also the color violet, it symbolizes the fusion of red and blue. My theory goes a bit out of the way. Maybe there was a falling out in the family. Maybe Zephaniah Mann, the father and founder of Man Co, did not consider Elizabeth, the administrator, as a worthy heir to his company. Or maybe she was not as close to the family in any way at all. Anyway, we come to this later again. Redmond and Plutarch got all the trashy lands of their father, Barnabas Hale got the wealthy company, and Elizabeth got paid out in gold. Everything is fine, right? Now let's move on to the second part of my theory. Maybe gold lost its value because of the more valuable Australium. Maybe the administrator got greedy and wanted the whole empire. Or maybe she wanted revenge for being bought out of the will, even though she was a right heir for the Man Co company. This I don't know, as I said, but I strongly believe that one of this must be true. As I said, it doesn't even have to be a family matter, but it would make very much sense in the story. And here comes my clue. Maybe Elizabeth knew about the 3rd sibling, Grey Man. Maybe she was like an older sister and was like present at the birth of the 3 brothers. I don't want to see this as confirmation, but it was kinda hinted at one of the pictures that she was scared of something. Maybe that was the birth, maybe it was her father Zephaniah. That I don't know, but it would make sense. Maybe she did know that this man would be the key for her whole plan. She knew that one day Greyman would make his move on the lands of blue and red. Maybe the gold has lost all its value, as I said, so Greyman didn't see Elizabeth as a threat at first. But they both underestimated the stupidity of the other 2 siblings. They got the key to immortality. This slowed down the whole process a lot. She knew that one day something would happen, so that's why she had to extend her life as well. One day the 3rd sibling would show his face, so she kept waiting and kept extending the fight between the brothers so no party could get the upper hand and be another obstacle for Elizabeth's takeover. But then came the big problem. The life extending machine was fueled by Australium and it was running low. Now the whole story with Man vs Machine takes place. Of course the administrator does not want her potential future to be damaged. The merc successfully stole the robots until Grey Man finds the brothers Plutarch and Redmond and kills them. Shortly after, Grey Man walks up to Man Co and kicks out Saxton Hale, and the administrator steals the last supply of Australium too well, not die. All of the Man Empire would have been at the right place, all fused in Grey Man. But again, another problem rose up. The old mercs were hired by Grey Man to find the administrator and Pauling. They needed to get rid of them, so that's why they reunited the Team Fortress. The same mercs that stalled the robot invasion in the first place should also take care of the other merc team, which in the end they did. All of the Man family that had the right to the throne of Manco were dead. Elizabeth was the only one left, and that would make her final plan, maybe trying to kill Saxton Hale for good, final. The last confrontation. We concluded the story up to the last confrontation, either in a big bang and a fight, or another confrontation, like a battle of wits or ideology. This must conclude an army for the mercs to fight again, which in my eyes is not really necessary. Maybe a blunt confrontation, brains versus power, Elizabeth versus Saxton, in a battle against each other. But as I said, in the end I believe there should be a tie. Saxton realizing that he doesn't need the company anymore and the administrator letting go of her greediness. I don't know if the mercs need a big part in it. That's why they kinda need to fight something so they are in the comic, while Saxton and Elizabeth duke it out themselves. Maybe an army of NG bots or something, I don't know. Maybe even after realizing that he was fighting his old colleagues, he shuts down the army to not make NG a villain. In the end, the administrator does not get Manco though. I think that Miss Pauling should be the one that gets the company. Maybe she even co-leads it with NG, both being so crucial for the administrator's plan. So this would conclude the main story, and in the end, we see the many different ways the mercs go. Demo coming home to his mom, Scout maybe finding a girl so he can let go of Pauling, Sniper visiting the grave of his parents, and Pyro being a CEO of yet another company. The last picture would show a grand panel of the wedding of Soldier and Senna with all the crucial and alive characters cheering them on, while fading slowly to a jungle where we see Saxton Hale and Meg hunt for some wild animals and Saxton doing his ending monologue. I think this would be a worthwhile ending for the TF2 comics. Of course, I know that there are a few plot holes in the story. Like maybe the whole idea with Elizabeth really only goes as a revenge story, but I would love to believe that there's a larger meaning behind the fights, the waiting and the life extending. Anyway, this would conclude all the main story beats of the comic. I hope I did a good job. Anyway guys, hope you have a wonderful day and hope to see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my Discord. The last thing to say now is, Mr. Spencer out.